All right, welcome back to the channel. I am Ivan, and you're watching my musical success journey. And this is the fourth video in a series of videos on how to live stream your band. And I'm still going over equipment. And the equipment I'm going over today is your DAW, which is your digital audio workstation. That can be Ableton Live, it can be Reaper, it can be Pro Tools, it can be any of those DAWs, but they all kind of work the same. There are a few features on other DAWs that you can use, but I'm going to show you what I use in my DAW, which I've currently switched DAWs. I went from Ableton Live to Reaper. And the reason I did that is because I believe I told you about how whenever I try and do live streaming using the DAW and using Reaper, that I get some lagging and popping and cracking and stuff like that. Well, Reaper is a very hardware-friendly program. It doesn't use a lot of resources, and it allows you to be able to use a DAW for a live stream. And the reason that's beneficial instead of just your mixing board is that you can put effects on individual vocals. You can put effects on instruments. You can bus instruments together, like let's say your drums, so that when you move your fader in the DAW on the drum bus, you are actually increasing the volume of the whole kit as a whole rather than each individual. You got to keep going through and adjusting that, but which is beneficial. It makes things a little bit more. You can get a better sound from using the DAW that way. Make it more concert-like rather than just guys in a room playing. You can actually manipulate the sound a lot better. Whereas if I'm going through just my mixing board, I get what is only coming out of the mixing board. So I can't really add any audio effects unless it's an external audio effects processor, which I have to patch in to the board, which I only have one audio effects unit, and that has some reverb and delay on it. And if I want to put specific effects on each vocal part, like the singer, there's two different singers. One guy likes a little delay on his voice, and the other guy likes a little delay, maybe with some reverb on his voice. I can't do that just using the mixing board. So the DAW offers you a little more flexibility, a little more flavor with your mixes for the live stream. And I haven't fully experimented yet with the new DAW, but from what I've done so far, I've routed everything into the audio interface from my board so that I can get each individual channel out of my mixing board, which I use it in combination with the DAW, into separate channels in the DAW. So I have 12 separate channels. Actually, I can do as many as I want in the DAW, but I only have, actually I have, let's see, 12, 14 channels that I can use, create individual tracks in Reaper. And I do that by cabling through the mixer into the audio interface, and then from the audio interface it goes into Reaper. And I have control over each channel that way. Basically, you get your levels set on your board, and then in Reaper you can make all your fine-tuning adjustments there. And then from Reaper it goes into OBS Studio and then out to the world. So just some options. There are all different kinds of ways to live stream your band. This is just my particular flavor or my way of doing it, and I found that this is the most stable way of doing it for me. And I use a PC. I don't use a Mac. Now, if I had a Mac, it might be different, but I use a PC, and this is just my setup. But it just gives you an idea of exactly what you can do with a mixer and with a DAW. Okay, so I'm gonna take you through kind of how I set everything up, from the cabling into the audio interface, and then from the audio interface into the DAW, and then I'll show you how you can manipulate each track in the DAW. Okay, so I'll be right back. All right, so now I'm standing over by my mixer, and I'll show you the cabling, the routing that I use to get this mixing board into the audio interface and the different setups. The first setup I'm going to show you is how you route it for just using the mixer into OBS Studio, and then the second routing will be for Reaper into OBS Studio from the mixer audio interface into Reaper. So, all right, it's very simple. Let me move the camera so you can see. I gotta move it this way. Okay, now it's set up right now currently. Now you're looking at the audio interface, and this is my audio interface right here, this top one. Okay, and these two channels 1 and 2, I have these going directly into the board here. Goes into the back of the board back here, into the audio interface here. And then I showed you this before, but there's a USB cable that goes from this audio interface into the computer, and then I have it routed there. But I just use these two right here, stereo channel, for the mix. I do my mix on the board here, which I'll show you. You know, you just kind of set your levels and everything on the board. You know, your gains and everything like that. You do your mix on the board, and then you can you know, you listen with your ears, because I have a pair of headphones, which I have right here. Okay, and I actually plug those into the headphone jacks for direct monitoring, which I'll show you. These headphones just go right into this jack right here, and I plug them in there, and then I can monitor the mix that's coming out of the board directly into the audio interface right through here. So that's how I do my monitoring when I do a mix on the board. And it's the same, actually. It's actually the same for when I do a mix through the DAW, because everything is routed. This is like your sound card. Everything is routed through this mix, or the audio interface, which is this is a Focusrite 18i20. All right, so now I'm going to show you exactly what I do for a DAW situation, where I'd route this mixer for individual control of each channel. So let me go down. So I need to go the other way. It's like the opposite. But anyways, I've got these cables that run. There's a direct out in the back of the board, and they run and they go directly into each input on the audio interface. And then this is the expander right here, the ADAT expander. This is the master, which is the audio interface, and this is the expander. Now, channels 1 and 2 on the mixer, I have cables for that, which I have a black cable and a red cable, which I'll pull up and show you. Okay. And what I do when I route to the mixer, or for the DAW, I'll pull out the stereo outs from. I screwed up the. I unplugged the audio from the interface, and I'm showing you that I'm plugging in each individual channel from the mixer into each input on the audio interface, which is my Focusrite 18920. And it basically, the wires go in and they go plug right in directly into the inputs on the audio interface, and I have them routed around the back of the audio interface, and then it goes into the USB. And that's what I was trying to explain to you before I cut myself off and unplug the audio. All right, now I'm sitting here at the desk, and I'm going to go through how I manipulate the audio in the DAW and show you in OBS Studio how I have two inputs for both, so that I can choose between which one I want to do. Now, if I'm doing a whole band and I'm not really worried about adding effects onto vocals and stuff like that, I'll just use the mixer because it's pretty solid that way. It sounds really good. But if I'm going to put some effects on different instruments, or like the drum set and the vocalists, I will go through the DAW. So I already showed you kind of my connections, how I get audio for both purposes, one using stereo inputs 1 and 2, the other using all the individual inputs from the audio interface, or from the mixer into the audio interface, and then out to Reaper. And I'm going to show you the Reaper screen, and I'm going to show you exactly what a channel strip looks like in Reaper, so that you can kind of understand how I manipulate the track. All right, so I'm going to switch you over to the Reaper screen. All right, so now you're looking at Reaper, and these right here are the individual tracks, okay? Each one of these faders right here. Each fader controls the individual tracks. Now, if you see here, it says effects, right? I can add effects onto each of these tracks. So these are the overheads. So if I want a little bit of reverb on the overheads, I will throw it on there. But right now, it's just the solid connection from the audio interface. Whatever's coming in from the audio interface is going in here. There's no effects on these right now. But then I'll move it, and I created what's called a drum bus right here. And I've routed all of these channels right here. I don't know if I can highlight them all, but let's see. This channel, this channel, this channel, this channel, and this channel, this channel, and this channel. They're all going to this drum bus. You see how it says drum bus down here? And then what I can do is, if I want to make the drums sound bigger, I can put some reverb on the drum set, just a little bit, just to give it a bigger sound. Or if I have vocal tracks, like over here, I can do individual vocal effects for each track, vocal track. So, but they're all separate. They're all separate individual tracks coming out of my mixer into Reaper. And then I use whenever you install Reaper, there's a option that lets you choose reroute, to install reroute options for Reaper. And I install that because that's the only way you can get audio into OBS Studio by doing the reroute. And what happens is, with reroute, you send the audio signal from the master back into OBS Studio. So whatever mix comes out of Reaper, it goes into OBS Studio. Now I have my reroutes set to channel 9 and 10, and I'll go over to the OBS Studio, and you'll see this is the plugin. It's ASIO input capture, and it allows you to capture the audio that's coming out of Reaper. And if I go in here and I go to properties, you can see right here it's using the reroute ASIO plugin, and it's using channels client channel 9 and client channel 10, which is channel 9 and 10 out of Reaper. And you can choose whatever channel you want, but I have mine set to 9 and 10 because then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all for the drums, and anything else, and then channels 11 through 18 for the rest of the channels that come into OBS Studio, or into Reaper, I should say. And then it just said you set aside channels 9 and 10 to do the reroute, and you get audio coming into OBS Studio, as long as all the audio coming out of each channel of my board. And I can, like I said, I can manipulate each and every channel with the mixer, because each of these channels right here, this is input 1, this is input 2, 3, 4, 5. Those all correspond to the channels coming out of my mixer. So channels 1 is channel 1 in Reaper, so it all corresponds to each other. But I know how I route it, and that's a good option if you have a standalone mixer. It's not an audio interface. It has no USB outs. You can't use your mixer as an audio interface if you can't use your mixer as an audio interface, and you just have a regular analog mixer. This is the way to route it. And it sounds really good. It really does. And then I also wanted to tell you this, like, if you don't go out and buy just an analog mixer, if you're going to buy equipment, there are other options that are a little bit easier to route. One would be an all-in-one, which is an analog mixer, which you can do live sound with, and it also acts as, it's a digital mixer. It also acts as an internet or a audio interface. So each input that you put into your mixer from a Snake or wherever, or just a direct into your mixing board, it's going to give you each individual channel already routed to OBS or Reaper. You can choose it. You choose your mixer, which would be your audio interface, which I think the X32, the Behringer X32 is one of those that gives you 32 channels of direct audio into a DAW, and you can manipulate each one of those channels directly through the DAW, and you don't have to use all the wiring and cabling that I use, because it's just using the USB into the computer, and then Reaper recognizes it. You still have to use the reroute to get the audio into OBS Studio, but it's a lot simpler to do it that way if you're going to go out and buy stuff. So don't go out and buy an analog mixer. I mean, you can if you want. It's up to you. If you just that's what you have, use it, and then just route it the way I said with the cabling. But you have to have the direct outs on your board. If you don't have the direct outs, then you might want to consider buying a new mixer that works as an audio interface. So that's pretty much how I can get a good mix using a DAW or the mixing board. I think there are so many different ways to live stream your band as far as like getting audio. There are different devices, but this is the way I do it. So I wanted to show you what I know and how I do things. And that's pretty much what this series is about. Now I've got more that I want to cover as far as things that you need. Headphones. We're going to go over the headphones. I kind of went over it a little bit today. And then a little bit about the internet connection, because it's very important to have a good internet connection. And I'll kind of show you what I use. All right. Well, everybody, I hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget, like and subscribe if this helps you in any way. It helps me grow my channel and put this out there in front of people so that it can help them as well. But I appreciate everybody who watches my channel and watches my videos. Like I said, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Today is Sunday, February 25th, 2026. Man, it's already going by fast. Already in the second month, almost gone. But anyways, that's enough for this video. I hope it helped you to live stream your band. And if not, if there are any things that I need to explain more, just let me know. Leave a comment, and I will try to get to it. All right. Have a great one. Bye.